Hey, Jordo, did you know that this is the 50th episode of Bench Talk? And in true Melbourne fashion, we're back in lockdown.
Lockdown 6. I don't think we ever came out of lockdown.
No, we actually didn't. In between lockdown 5 and lockdown 6, you couldn't actually go next door and see your neighbour there. But anyway, Jordo, we are fast approaching. We're going to outdo the Fast and Furious franchises. We're going to be at lockdown 10 by the end of the year. Actually, I think it'll just be one big lockdown. Sydney stuffed, Melbourne stuffed. I think they need to rename Australia to Corona Island. Let me just get a drink. It's coffee time. I just realised I've got an F Your LS Barra mug there with an LS The World top on.
You sound like you're gender fluid there.
So Jordo, with that in mind, if you're in lockdown, you're going to need some fullBOOST merch, yeah? I think you've been working on some new designs. Hopefully we'll have them out. You'd have to think they're probably going to come out during lockdown, yeah?
I don't know if that's lockdown 6, 7 or 8, but yeah, high odds. Luke, some idiot in a BMW apparently was burning around the neighbourhood. Bruh. Loud, being an idiot. Apparently he's been sued and ordered to pay $5,000 to his annoyed neighbours. That's all this about. Bruh.
Yeah, I saw that. Some loser.
Bruh.
He's probably got one of those BMWs, you know, with the stanced wheels. They're like 35 degrees of negative camber for ultimate performance.
Bruh.
He's probably got one of those straight pipe exhaust horizontal, 45 degrees out the back bumper. You know the old term, you know you don't S-H-I-T where you eat?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
We've all got loud cars, or you've had loud cars, whatever, a bit rowdy, whatever. You just freak them out, don't annoy your neighbours.
Look, the lawsuit claimed the homeowner, his noisy cars and driving style ruined the quiet enjoyment of their home over a 5-year period. Back to local news.
Police have carried out pre-dawn raids to arrest hoons causing havoc.
Pre-dawn raids, it sounds like, yeah, it's pretty serious stuff.
It's idiotic behaviour like this that's being targeted.
People take hoons seriously. I mean, look, don't scrap the cars, sell them and proceeds go to a good cause. A lot of people think like that. I agree too. I don't know why they do crush cars.
I don't understand the point of crushing cars. And then I saw one comment, someone was
it's here, look, you can't sell them, well you can, but the vehicle is tainted. It's marked registration as being involved in hoon activity, so the unsuspecting buyer is buying a targeted vehicle, not fair. That's why they crushed him.
That makes absolutely no sense. You know the Billy Madison quote?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
So if some unsuspecting buyer buys the car, forever a day he's just going to be targeted by the cops. Do you reckon if it changed owners and the hoon got, you know, all this went through paperwork, you reckon maybe the title might be clear? For starters, it would probably be re-registered under a different registration plate. I mean...
Yeah, that's just an absolute moronic comment. That makes no sense to crush them. You know, then they go like, oh, if they don't crush them, the hoons just buy them back at the auction. I'm like, what's stopping them just going to buy the same car tomorrow? If this guy's a hoon, the problem's with the guy, it's not with the car he's driving.
How's this, look, how nice do these engines sound? 2020 model Shelby GT500, 100% stock engine, DCT transmission and clutches, makes insane power with a Whipple supercharger, 3.8 litre Gen 5 twin screw supercharger, 1300 horsepower stock engine and trans. Just listen to it high up in their rev range. That is unreal.
That's like Lambo territory.
No LS sounds like that.
LS. We didn't get the 5.2 here at all, did we? Not even limited?
No, I don't think so, no.
I don't think so. No. Well, all the people stateside sook it up that they don't get a Barra, and this is one thing that's baffled me, right? Over there's a GM straight 6, is it 4.2 litre? Is it called the Atlas engine?
It's bigger than a Barra, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's an aluminium block.
And they're twin cam, aren't they?
Yeah, twin cam, 4.2 litre. I saw one in a dyno, they were making like 550 or 570.
They're out of a truck. They're out of some sort of truck, are they? They must be.
I don't know what they're out of. I don't know much about it. But all I'm saying is, I don't know why they're so obsessed about the Barra when you've got something similar in your backyard.
You're wondering why they never developed parts for them?
You know why? Because that wasn't a factory turbo engine, the Barra was, so that makes the Barra like extremely unique. So then I thought, why don't we import one of these Atlas engines, and then they'll just be looking at us going, why would you do that? You've got the Barra. Don't you reckon online you see now almost more Barra conversions than LS ones?
Well, LSs have been around longer, I guess. So I don't know. You see them. It's like not that people aren't still doing LS conversions, but yeah, I know what you mean. The Barra seem to be just as popular, even though realistically a Barra is it's harder to fit in most cars just due to its size. Now, Luke, recently we discussed how Ford had an engine called a Godzilla and it sent the GTR fanboys into a frenzy. You are not allowed to call anything but a Skyline a Godzilla, apparently.
It's usually by people who've never owned one.
So now Ford just doubled down and now they've trademarked the name Skyline in the US.
Bloody oath. So now you can, well, what if you put, obviously you're going to put the Ford Godzilla V8 in the Skyline and you're going to have a Godzilla. We're going to have a truck called the Ford Skyline with a Godzilla engine. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Not a joke.
This is a pretty good comment. Finally a Skyline that I can afford.
Speaking of expensive Japanese cars, did you see that Tommy Mäkinen Evo that sold in the UK, Australian 275 Gorillas?
I think it had 18,000 miles, 18,000 kilometres on it or something. It was very low Ks. The thing was pristine.
But Jordo, it was, I read the article, it was build number 1 of 50 in the UK. So it was the first one delivered into the UK, basically. It'd be pretty hard to find a clean example with no kilometres.
Why does that mean anything? If you had a Mäkinen and it was build number 1 or build number 21, I love how that means something like, wow.
The first and last off the production line. I always thought, Jordo, wouldn't you rather the last one, or actually not the last one, because they'd just rush it through. The first one, surely there's stuff wrong with it, yeah? Old mate forgot to zip up those M10 bolts and there's something loose on the car. Surely you'd rather build number 100, yeah?
You'd think so, but anyway. That's not worth as much, apparently. I remember in Australia saying to you, I think at the time, this would have been obviously quite a few years ago, Evo 6s, these were pretty much grey import ones. I remember Evo 6s were like 20 grand, 25 grand for an absolute mint one. And at the time, a Mäkinen was like 35 to 40. And I remember saying to you, how the hell is that car worth another 10 to 15 grand? What a joke. I mean, they're cool cars, but come on. And now look at the prices.
At the same time, you could buy an Evo 7 for Australian for about 14, 15.
They bottomed out, yeah, pretty low. I remember going, look at this, and thinking it's the ugly duckling Evo, but 12, 13, 14 grand, that is a lot of car for that money at the time.
But mechanically, aren't they the ones to buy? Like, don't they still have the mechanical style diffs?
I think an Evo 7, I've never been into the late model Evos as much, so I'm sure I've got something wrong, but I think an Evo 7 have the 5-speed.
Oh, the strong 5-speed, of course, yeah. Because that's the weak point.
But no, they mechanically, they're good cars.
The Evo obviously is a strong engine, and you put the Subaru, the STI 6-speed behind the Evo, somehow. Might have to mount that engine north-south, huh? Speaking of high-priced cars, I've been looking at buying a new daily.
So, new Renault, yeah? New Renault?
Yeah, bloody oath.
Not sure.
No, it's not correct.
Thank you.
That's probably the only thing I can afford at the moment. I've been looking at buying a new car. Now, normally, you know, if you want a good deal, you could buy something like 3 years old. And on a lot of cars, you can almost get them for half price. That's like the sweet spot to buy them. They haven't got too many kilometres on them. You might hang on to them for 3 or 4 years, sell it. Usually don't lose out too much. The cost of second-hand cars of anything is it's outrageous. You might as well buy a brand new car.
It's actually pretty ridiculous when you see something with 80,000 Ks on it and somehow you're like, that's 85% of its new price or something. It's
90% of it.
It's not.
There's a few factors. Obviously, there's no stock here. A lot of cars you can't get, which is obviously the main factor. But then, like, I was looking, like, I prefer a smaller car, right? Maybe a small station wagon, something like that. If you want something, and I've got kids too, I need a 4-door, even for
Come on,
work-wise.
station wagon, you're kind of limiting your choices there a bit.
Or a hatch, a bigger hatch. I don't know. I don't want a Truckosaurus, right? I'm not driving a Thai tractor. You could not pay me to drive one of those oil burners. No! So then you want something, and I'm actually open to driving an automatic.
You serious?
I'm not, but the problem then, right, even a lot of people say, you go to the dark side, you go and buy like a Volkswagen. And it's got a GSG box. You really want to buy one that's got like 80,000, 100,000 Ks on it? I don't know. I think if I was buying a Volkswagen personally, I'd rather buy a new one. Or something, you know, virtually new. I would.
Oh, it'd have to be extremely low Ks, like a demo or something.
And the only way you could get a Volkswagen, you'd have to specifically say, I just want a normal cooler dose tune. I don't want none of this pop, crackle, farting garbage.
No rice bubble tune there. Stuff that. That's terrible. That's Fiesta ST territory. Awful.
I can understand why so many people buy Golfs. If you want a four-door that's not a tank, something like a Golf wagon would suit me well at the moment.
Say that again.
If you want a four-door and something that goes, like a turbo engine or something that's performance-based, well, obviously there's stuff to buy, but it starts getting expensive. There's not much under, for example, there's not much under 50 grand anymore, like nothing. Nothing against front-wheel drives, but I want something that I could possibly modify. And if you're gonna buy a front-wheel drive, you might as well leave the thing stock.
Oh, depends what it is. I don't know, I always think front-wheel drives are okay up to a certain point, but then as soon as it's a wet environment, forget it.
Wet.
It's a waste of time.
That's what I mean, in the wet.
It's two different cars to drive.
Once you've had a few all-wheel drives, it's hard to go back to a front-wheel drive. All-wheel drive car, you just drive it. You pretty much just drive it normal, no matter what the conditions. Unless you're driving like an idiot, the car's fine. Honestly, I got no idea what to buy. Anyway, so I started looking at Teslas because we've got the fully charged. Is that our domain name, Jordan? I can't even remember. Is it fully charged?
I think it was full charge.
Full charge. I completely screwed that up. Fullcharge.com.au is the new business venture. So then
you apparently don't even know what it's called. You're so into it.
No. This is going great. So I started looking at Model 3s, but of course you can't buy a Model 3 base model, can you?
Nah, forget it. You got to buy the cream of the crop, dual motor.
Dual motor.
It's like buying. You're not going to buy a Commodore and buy a V6, an SV6. Probably offended a few SV6 owners here. You can go straight for an SS.
Some owners. Well, the only upside, if you buy a Model 3 Performance with all the goods, what do they run? 0 to 100 in like 3 seconds or something? It's probably cheaper than buying a second-hand SS, yeah?
Didn't they have a big price drop recently? Like a month ago?
They did, yeah. Yeah, obviously what's the luxury car tax at now?
I don't know.
There's a fair price difference between a base 3 and the Performance 3, but you start looking, Geordie, at everything else for sale. The Teslas aren't that badly priced. Obviously, the price of them's coming down a bit.
The servicing, you'd have to hang on to it for quite a while though to make any like financial gains over a petrol car, really.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What are they?
I mean, it's not. Go and buy something like an Audi. What does an Audi RS3 cost now? Actually, I haven't looked at the price of them. But what I mean is anything of that sort of performance. The thing about I like the performance aspect. If you haven't driven a Tesla, they're pretty cool. But the look of them personally, I find them so bland.
Oh, they're terrible looking things. Yeah, they're just.
And the interior, I can't believe how many people. I don't know if it's standard or an option. I've got like a white interior. They're just ugly.
Yeah, nah.
They're just a plain looking car.
Do you also need to budget for some sort of upgrade, like electrical upgrade in the garage? Because if you try and charge them off a regular power point, it's like trickle charging. It's pathetic.
I'm going to run it off a 12-volt cigarette lighter, charge it up.
Just throw a DeWalt battery on it. I mean, that's what I mean. There's a few other factors you need to think about.
That's not that much of a factor for me. I think people totally overblow the whole range thing.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. It's not how far are you really driving around Melbourne? Or in your main city. It depends on what you do, but
yeah, but even if you drive all over Melbourne in a day, I'm not going to do 400, 500 kilometers in a day, and then at night time I'll just bang it on charge. The only thing, I mean, it sounds stupid. I hate leaving things on charge. I don't charge batteries if I'm not here at home or.
Yeah, you'd have to get used to that.
Like I'd never leave my phone on charge overnight. And you're doing that with a car, and just burn your whole house down. I don't know. the whole thing about the range, unless you're driving interstate, you'd have to think about it, but just driving around day-to-day life, I don't really see how it's
the range on the current crop of EVs is quite good, generally. I mean, not an cheapo thing, but...
the long-range Teslas will do, like, say, 500 kilometres. Like, it's not like they're doing
heaps.
200 Ks.
But some
That's
of these
heaps.
models, not so much Teslas, but an electric car come out and say the range is 350, 380 Ks. People are jumping up and down like it's 150. Like, come on.
I would have thought if you've got an XR6 turbo and E85, you'd have range anxiety, yeah?
Well, that's 80 litres, and you're probably burning, what, 25 litres per 100
200.
at least?
So maybe you guys could give me some ideas of what to buy. I don't even know what my budget is, to be honest, because it depends what car it is, if that makes sense. You know, some cars you're willing to spend more money than others, but it's got to be something performance-based. It has to have 4 doors.
I thought we were negotiating here.
You don't want a front-wheel drive, or you're not sure?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It depends what it is. It actually depends what it is. I mean, it depends. There's a big difference if you bought a front-wheel drive at 45,000 as opposed to some all-wheel drive car and it's 80,000. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But that's what I mean. Your price is going to vary heaps.
I'd prefer an all-wheel drive car, but I'm just saying a front-wheel drive car, yeah, you're not going to modify it that much. But hey, it all depends on what's available, like I said.
If you restrict yourself to an all-wheel drive too, you're going to have a lot of just family cars that are a bit bland.
Yeah. Have you seen that Hyundai, is it called an Iconic 5? Is that what it's called? Icon or something? Iconic 5 or something? It's really retro looking. Yeah, it's a little hatchback. But that's
So let me get this straight. People are tuning into Full Boost and you're talking about Hyundai Icon electric. It seems to be an SUV. Is that what you just said?
Well, you see, mate, it's like this, right?
The reality is, Geordie, going forward, if you want a new car, everyone can sook and whine. If you want a new car, let's say, for example, you want to buy it on a lease.
It's called a GR Yaris.
Yeah, not too practical for my needs, but
No,
yeah, if you want going
ridiculous.
forward, if you want a new car and you want performance, whatever, there's not going to be too many more years left of non-electric cars. Fast forward 5 years. How many new cars are going to be coming out? Everything's basically reaching the end of production cycle. They're not going to be developing, like I don't think Audi's developing another 5-cylinder. They're not going to be developing ICE engines.
What did Dementia Joe come out with last week? He just said by 2030, half of, I think it's 50% of the sales over there have to be non-ICE.
I think in 5 years' time, a lot of us are probably going to have an electric car as a daily and have the ICE car as the weekend toy. Or your second car, I don't know. I know a lot of people
the daily EV will probably be quicker still.
Yeah, probably, but it'll be boring, hey? Is that what they say? Boring. Fast but boring. I'm open to either. I don't mind both. Like, there's a lot of people are really fixed. They like EV nuts, Tesla. They're people who've never been into cars. Do you know what I mean? They don't have a car background. Guys, and then you got the guys into, obviously like us, who've grown up around petrol, gasoline engines.
Those Tesla fanboys remind me of like iPhone fanboys. People who just get one off over just some piece of technology. It's got, calm down, mate. Seriously.
Yeah, but anyway. I mean, but then you got the guys who just, will take the ICE engines to the grave. I mean, heck, we're talking about electric cars and there's people still building engines with carburetors, so...
I was going to say, there's people sticking carbies on LSs because there's no way you can have that fancy fuel injection.
I just don't... The thing about I don't know why you just dismiss everything before you've even tried it. Just have a go, you might like it, you may not, whatever. Anyway, give me some ideas of what I could buy.
Luke, speaking of new cars, have you seen the latest V6 Avalon? It's getting to the point now where the grills, like everyone goes nuts over BMW, and the grill on their car is just taken over. The shape of the grill is just taken over the whole front of the car. I mean, this Avalon, I don't even think you'd even call it a bumper bar anymore. It's just the edges of the bumper, and the entire car is just a whale shark opening. I mean, what is going on here? I mean, they've obviously got a few radiators in here.
It's it's like that meme, yo dog, I got a grill for your grill.
It's amazing too how many people
Seriously.
still to this day online I see if there's even a mention of a Camry Sportivo, they start going on about how that's a really good looking car. That's just, have you been in one of them? They hammer.
Toyota are really putting aren't they putting all their effort into hybrids and hydrogen fuel cells, yeah?
Well, they've got their updated 86 coming out, but it always just has the bloody aspirated engine in it, which is a bit disappointing.
Hey, Jordo, forget all that. They've got the new 300 series Land Cruiser coming out, and it might have a GR sticker pack as well. V6 oil burner.
Oh, they're screwing up that GR brand. I mean, they're just sticking it on everything. They stick the same style of opening on the front of the car, and then they call it a GR. It's GR Sport. God, there's been a lot of butthurt over that 300 Land Cruiser though, because it's dropped the V8 for a V6, even though it's got more torque. I think it's got more power. But it's funny how people quick to dismiss it and just rip on it. Haven't seen it, haven't driven it, don't know the first thing about it, but a couple of specs on paper and this is rubbish.
Oh yeah, I've even seen like other channels doing reviews on, they do reviews on cars just off a set of specs.
Or the cars don't even exist, it's all just speculation. I mean, all it needs to do is tow a caravan across Australia. It'll be fine. It's interesting though when you see the sales, how much the Land Cruiser outsells its rivals.
It's like petrol in Australia, isn't it? Like, it's pretty much like 9-1 or something.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that.
Land Cruiser
I've never
sales.
had an interest in the big barges, but I mean, extremely popular category though. But yeah, I was surprised the difference in sales.
I think a lot of that's fleet sales. Like a lot of Land Cruisers and stuff are used in, say, mining. Do you know what I mean? They always use the Toyotas because they're sort of like the farm truck, I guess, compared to the patrol. And also, wouldn't the patrol, you can't even get one, yeah? Like if you try and order one, it's about a year's wait or something.
That's why Broomy ended up with an 8-year-old Jeep.
Yeah. But granted, like, there's not much to buy. I mean, I'm in a position, I'm kind of lucky. I get to drive a lot of different cars, and or at least go in them. You know what I drove the other day? The Silverado 1500. That's not a bad, for a truck, it's not a bad rig. I can see why if you didn't live, maybe obviously parking it.
I was about to say, did you try and
go
go park it at the local shops and then you'd have a different opinion of it, or?
Underground car park, yeah, I could imagine a bit annoying. But if you didn't live in the city, like you lived just out, I can see why you'd have one. Hey, this is going to cause some butt hurt, but you know what? I went for a ride in the other day, and I wasn't that impressed with it. It was a current Z01 Camaro.
You're not happy with it?
Oh, look, I've never liked the seating position of cars like Mustangs and Camaros. It's not me, but that aside, that's pretty terrible. I couldn't get over, honestly, the road noise. If you're driving a car that's 30 years old, you sort of accept, hey, things should have advanced. Yeah, like I was in the car and I thought, this is so noisy on the highway. You think they put a little bit of a sound deadening in it. It's not like it's a lightweight car. And obviously, I don't know if you've ever seen the boot in one of those. Like, it is such an impractical car. I honestly reckon your GR Yaris is more practical than that.
Should start this again. Might actually do some research.